Let's rock and roll. So, all right, well, let me just throw it off. Okay, I'm Lance Martin, Coldwell Banker Town and Country. Peter Mendiola with Coldwell Banker West is kind of hosting our Zoom call, as he's been doing for pretty much all of our Blue Ocean stuff. So I'm going to introduce Alex Horowitz with Coldwell Banker Diamond. He was kind enough to reach out to David Knox, who's on your screen. Most of you know David. He's just a rock star killer trainer and around in the business forever. So again, I want to thank Peter for hosting the Zoom. I'm going to throw it to Alex. You can do a brief introduction to David, and then we'll just get rolling. So
awesome. Hi, I'm Alex Horowitz, owner of Coldwell Banker Diamond. First of all, I want to a great shout out to the Blue Diamond group, or the Blue Ocean group. If you think about it, everything that's gone on so far has really brought us out of the rubble and put us back in our business, which is where we need to be right now. I just want to thank everybody for putting this together today. David is amazing. I met him at the International Business Conference, Coldwell Banker events, which is where actually I met Lance and many other broker owners. And David just, he's a brother from another mother. He's amazing. He is the best. He's also the real estate Steve Martin. So, I mean, he makes you relax. He makes you sign contracts. I can't tell you how many times I've been getting ready for a big listing appointment. I just put on some David Knox videos. I go out there and I sign it. It's done. So he's absolutely amazing. I followed him his whole career since 1988 that I've been in the business. And as I look forward to hearing what he has to say today, I'm turned over to you, David. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Lance. And thank you all for tuning in. And I think I'm compared to Steve Martin probably because my hair's so brown, right? That's probably how that is. I think I've spoken at last count 287 Coldwell Banker events over the years. And in fact, the company I used to work for ended up selling to a bunch of different companies and ended up being a Coldwell Banker company in Minneapolis, Coldwell Banker Burnett. So Ralph Burnett was one of my first mentors when I got in the real estate business. So today my goal is to get right at it and help people be productive in this environment. And that's really, I think, agents are looking for permission to be productive. And I think we need to have that. And I think a lot of the themes that have come out in terms of, you guys were talking about different motivational presentations and attitude and things like that. I think we've been in this crisis for so long, the messages are kind of coalescing to like, yeah, we get it. So I'm not going to go through a lot of that, just a couple other things to establish some points. But my goal is at the end of this, that you'll be able to get prospect for listing appointments and then convert the listing appointments. And that's my goal. And we've got a new video that came out, or well, it's going to come out today, I think, on how to do a virtual listing presentation. A woman got 2 listings, sold one of them, 10,000 over asking price, has still never met the people, all done virtually. So as I start off, maybe some of the attitudes I'm picking up out there, agents are afraid to be productive. There's kind of what I call a corona correctness, if you don't mind that term, or they're afraid. And even though states might say you're essential, you can do it, they're going, yeah, but is it okay? And they have a fear of being opportunistic or appearing that way. And I think that's a legitimate fear. I get that. But I've been asking my audiences, and I wish I could see all your heads nod, but I'll ask you this question. How many of you think grocery stores are being opportunistic? And having done this now for a while, you see 300 heads going, well, no, we got to have something to eat. My little Yorkshire Terrier buddy, I ran out of food and I went, oh, for gosh sake, how am I going to feed the little guy? So I go to PetSmart Rancho Mirage. Yay, it's open. They're not being opportunistic. Now my dog's not going to die. So I think realtors need to decide that you are essential. Regardless of what the state calls you, there are people to whom you are essential. And also in every crisis, I've been in the business since '72, so you can imagine how many different things I've been through in terms of crisis and ups and downs and recessions and all the stuff that can happen. And in every single one, on the other side, or even during it, someone emerges as a winner. And by the way, using the word winner in the context of people dying of a vicious virus, I get that can come off so perverted. But the fact is there are companies right now that are doing better now than they ever have been. And let's talk about the first one, Zoom. And I ask audiences, are any of you upset? Do you begrudge Zoom for making more money than they've ever made? Their stock price is as high as ever been. Anybody begrudge them of that? No, if it wasn't for Zoom, we couldn't be doing what we're doing. How about Netflix? I own Netflix stock. Glad I did. I think I bought it at 100. Now it's coming up on 500. So it's the highest stock price they've ever had, highest revenue they've ever had. Does anyone begrudge Netflix? No, because we have something to do at night. So we watch movies. Peloton just went up 60%. And I could go on and on and on of all the people who are actually doing better as a result of this. Now, certainly we're not saying it's great that this virus came along, but since it did, our choice is either to hide from it or do what we can do. And I really believe that Coldwell Banker being a prominent, successful, respected brand, you can be the Zoom, the Netflix, the Peloton of real estate. Because if you're not, somebody else is going to be. Now, having said that, I think it's important to be productive in context with your own personal safety. Please understand anything I say today. We're in different states, different countries, whatever. I had a woman say, we can show homes in our state, but my husband has COPD. And as a result of that, I'm choosing not to go out in the public and maybe bring it home to him. Those are the kinds of safety restrictions we all must be responsible for doing. But I'm also discovering two different kinds of agents, and I want to show you one. I was doing a Zoom with a company in Virginia Beach, and one of the attendees, a guy named Jeremy, posted in the chat. He says, I got shamed from a real estate agent for the idea of mailing or giving anything out during the pandemic. She was angry about the idea. I felt bad for her. So there's one group of agents. They're ducked, they're covered, they've gone fetal, they've gone into a closet, they've disappeared, they're hidden, and they don't want to come out. And by the way, they have every right to do that. Have at it if that's what makes your life feel good. But to pop out and shame other agents for being successful and productive, that's where they've crossed the line. But for those of you who wonder, there's your competition. I talked to a guy, this is sad. I was talking to a broker owner and he said, well, yesterday we sent out the announcement for the agents to pay their $126 board dues, $126. And he said, we lost 10 or 15 of them and left the company. Seriously, $126 is going to wipe you out of the real estate business? Yay, so glad you're in the business. So sadly, there's some people out there, they're gone, they've disappeared. So for those of you on this Zoom, tells me you're professional, you're reliable, you're loyal, you want to help people succeed. So do it in a responsible way. Then now I'd like to share the opposite agent. And this is from an agent, a brag letter to an agent. She's with Spicer Hart in the United Kingdom. And full disclosure, they're writing about a woman named Mandy. Well, Mandy happens to be my girlfriend, fiance in the UK. So she shared, she was all happy. She said, look at this letter I got. And I want to highlight some things that make a major point today. They were writing and said, Mandy was your last person standing. She was helping us through the process. The seller feared that the process would lose momentum and die and stop. But Mandy kept us informed, et cetera. But the third paragraph, this is critical, that the house was owned by my wife's mother who, suffering from advanced dementia, had been in a nursing home since mid-December. The available funds to pay for her care have literally just run out. And had these people, had Mandy not helped this person sell their home, they were in a seriously painful situation. So what we do in this business, we do good things for our customers and clients. So please come at it from that point. Continuing on, in a crisis like this, I've been asked to say, hey, David, how do you stay sane and have inner peace? Number one, be grateful for the blessings you do have. And I've been working out this morning. I haven't written down my gratitude. So I'm just going to ask that everybody take 30 seconds and a piece of paper, whatever you like, and write down some things you are grateful for. I'm going to do mine right now. And if anybody wants to pop them in the chat, you're certainly welcome to do that. I always kind of like to take a peek at them. But, we all, the thing that I see coming up for a lot of people is family. For me, it's health. I'm glad that I was able to work out this morning. I don't particularly enjoy it, but I take this door and I get exercise bins, and I was working out all morning long doing push-ups, and I was doing these things where you go back and forth in your abs. I'm lifting weights. I'm using an umbrella stand to do my Romanian deadlifts, because my theory, and maybe this is the theme of today's Zoom, is don't let a temporary situation cause permanent damage to your health, to your business, to your family, to anything. This is temporary. Don't make it permanent. I'm grateful for the Coldwell Banker Blue Ocean Group inviting me in. This is my greatest time during any days when I do Zoom meeting. I love it. It's a kick. I'm grateful that I'm going to do a virtual dinner with Mandy, my girlfriend, grateful for my dog, for son. So we all have things to be grateful for. And that's one of the ways you start staying sane. After that, limit your exposure to the media. If you want something that'll suck your will to live, just get in and watch TV news. Everybody talks about 24-hour news. No, we have 1 hour 24 times. And it's people yelling and screaming at each other. If they want to report facts, that's one thing. But when they start promoting models and predictions and all that stuff hadn't even happened yet. And they're telling you, Mike, what could happen, what might happen, how dangerous it could be, what might not happen. I'm tired of it. So please, I beg all of you, yes, you need to stay informed as an informed citizen, but find a way to get your information from a reliable source, limit it, get your information, get in, get out, nobody gets hurt. Let go of what you cannot control. You've heard it's a great poem that says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And sometimes you just got to let go. As you look around you and see all the craziness, take care of yourself, take care of your family, your business, your clients, do the things that you can do. And then if there's people outside of your control, maybe you fall into the area of charitable giving, whether it's money, time, and try to cross that line. Long-term planning in this business now is about 9 minutes, so focus on what's happening today. And the final two ways to stay sane: exercise and meditation. And as I said, I've got a trainer named Enyi, and I can't see him now physically, so we do virtual training. I put him on the iPhone, he takes me through an hour, so I'm doing my exercise. So for those of you who did it before, keep it up. For those of you who haven't, maybe now's the time to start. Maybe now's the time. People say, oh, I like to exercise, but I don't have time. How much do you need? You got the whole month. So maybe take a walk, do something. And meditation, just give yourself 5 to 10 minutes apiece. And if you want to learn how to do it, just do a Google search on Deepak Chopra, and he will take you through. What you need to do is do 6 counts of intake of your breath and hold for 2, and then let out 4 counts. And just go through the act of being peaceful. So now let's get into the heart of real estate. And first thing, virtual open houses. I've been editing a video on that we're going to upload to our member site pretty soon. But basically, for those of you who haven't done it, my definition of a virtual open house is it is live. A link on a site to a video is not a virtual open house. That's called MLS, and we've had it for 100 years. So don't be calling those virtual open houses. Those are just links to a online video, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind you doing that, but don't call it a virtual open house. So if it's not live, it ain't an open house. Number 1, create a Zoom invitation. I'm sure you all know how to use Zoom now. If you don't, learn it. Get the pro account. It's like $150 a year. Don't do the free account. No. So you get the paid account, and then you go in and you generate an invitation link. You guys all got one to this meeting, and you see how they look. So you generate the invitation link. Then you go to your Facebook business page, you click on events, you open it up, you take the invitation link, you put it in tickets, you put it in the description, and then you can later share it on your personal page. And then 3 days before the open, you click boost, and then of course, maybe wait till then to share it. And then I'm recommending you have a mission control. So if you really do a virtual open house properly, you have 3 people. Number 1 is you, the agent, giving the tour of the property. Nothing is in your hand, other than maybe some notes. You're not holding the video device. Number 2 is somebody doing the video recording, and somebody on mission control, and they can be in another state for all that matter, and they're on a computer, not a mobile device, and they see all the people up on the screen, and they can monitor the chat and the registration and do all that kind of stuff. That would be the optimum way to do it. If you're in a lockdown state like Pennsylvania, not only buyers can't go into homes, agents can't go into homes. I don't even think they're letting their sellers in the homes right in Pennsylvania. It's crazy there. But if you're really locked down, then of course the owner is going to have to be doing the video, and then you do the mission control from your office. And at the end, you log back into Zoom, you go to admin, reports, medium reports. You can download the report, and you'll get all of your attendees in CSV format. Clean up your data, delete the ones that are agents, delete the ones that are bogus. Bring them into your CRM and follow up. So the purpose that you got to start meeting people, and open houses, especially for new agents, is a great way to go. So next, a sphere of influence. If there was ever a time in your life, in your career, is to call your sphere of influence, this is it. So please, they're home, they're waiting for you. And by the way, I had an email from a guy a few weeks ago, and he said, hey, David, are you going to come up with some dialogue for overcoming the COVID-19 objection? I haven't responded to him yet because I would have probably been kind of brutal on it. But the answer is no. This is not a time for dialogue. This is not a time to call up people and say, hey, it's COVID-19, but you have an opportunity to buy or sell in this. No, 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 no. This is a no dialogue environment. So my suggestion is, let's call your sellers first. Call up your sellers. And the first question is, hey, you guys, I just want to check in. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's going on? Next question is, how would you like to proceed? And if they say, well, we want to take it home off the market for a while, your answer is, okay. Just, it's okay. Now, if you want to test, if you want to do a little tiny test, what you could say, you know, Mr. Seller, I appreciate the fact you'd like to put your home on hold for right now. We totally get that, understand it. But question I have for you, we've already been marketing your home. We have prospects coming off all the time. If I get a call from somebody who's seen it on MLS, looked at the photos, driven by and loves it and wants to see it, what would you like me to do? And they might say, well, if they've driven by and they really like it, I guess you could give me a call. So, you know, maybe you twist it. Same with buyers. How do you guys feel? Well, we don't want to be looking at homes today. We want to stay home. So we want to hold off for a while. Great. We respect that. But by the way, I just know what's going to happen. Something's going to come on the market right in your area, right in your price range. I'm going to look at it and go, oh, this is perfect for the Smiths. What would you like me to do? And they'll come back and say, well, if it's really, really, really good, I guess you could give us a call. So again, you got to be gentle, be kind, and let them let them make those decisions. In fact, I'm just going to, I see all these chats here. I guess I'm not going to have time to respond to them all. Will we have access to these slides after the webinar is over? Would you like that? Okay, I'll send them to you.
Definitely, David, we would. And we probably should have said this going on, but everyone's done enough Zoom calls. Yeah, just either type your question in the chat or in the Q&A. And before we break, we'll get them all to David, unless you want to jump in and take them as you go, David. Either way.
I don't want to mess with this. I'll wait till we're done. I'll email it to whom shall I email? Lance, Peter, Alex?
Any of us.
Any of us. All right. Well, the answer is yes. We'll take care of that. So anyway, those are my philosophies of calling you sellers and buyers. Respect their wishes, be gentle, be kind, give them the opportunity to step out of that comfort zone and allow you to either show them a property or show the home. So that is up to you. Sphere of influence, let's get back to them. What you want to do is absolutely call them up. They're reachable and say message, hey, how are you guys doing? And what's going on? How's it holding up? Let them bring up real estate. You know they will. You know they will. And they're going to ask how you're doing. They're wondering if you're alive and well. You could describe your current processes. Just bring them up to date. And in the old days, 2 months ago before the virus, I would have said that when you call past customers, clients, here's the dialogue. The dialogue, hey, by the way, Mr. Marcel, I'm just curious, how much longer do you plan to stay in this home? And do your own predictive marketing. Right now, I think that comes across a bit tone deaf, a little bit salesy. So another way to get to the same point is after chatting with these people, you can say, by the way, how's your home holding up for you? Now that you've been home for X number of weeks and months, how's your home working for you? And you're going to get some people that say, oh, it's great. We love it. Thanks so much for helping us buy this home. It's wonderful. Or they're going to say, I got to tell you something. I am sick and tired of this place. Oh, baby, I tell you, I've grown to hate it. I'll tell you what, when this virus passes, we are either going to sell the place or we are going to burn it down. So there'll be some people sick of it. But be careful. Don't be salesy about it. And by the way, I want to make a point. I have a whole group of friends that I know in Minnesota, and we all have homes here in Rancho Mirage where I am today. And we do our Friday afternoon happy hour Zooms. And a couple of Zooms ago, they said, hey, David, are you still in business? What's going on in real estate? Has it stopped? Is it dead? Is anything going on? I went, yeah, I'm busier than I've ever been. I said, I'm doing 14-hour days. I'm shooting video. I'm doing Zoom calls. I'm talking to agents. I'm going nuts. How are the agents doing? They're getting multiple offers over asking price. They're getting calls. They're getting leads. I said, it's going nuts out there. And they go, really? And I said, yeah. I said, yeah, there's some people on the sidelines. 20% of them have disappeared and they want to buy later, but they're going crazy. And my friends are like amazed. So I tell you this story. Why? Because your friends are amazed too. They think you're dead. They think the real estate business is dead. They think nobody's doing nothing. And if you don't call them, they're going to assume that the news is right, that everybody's dead. So your message basically to your customers, clients, sphere of influence is the rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I believe that was Mark Twain. So that's what you need to be doing. So now let's get on to for sale by owner and expires. If there was ever a time when those two groups need us, now is the time. They need us more than ever. You know the other agents aren't calling them because the other agents are hiding in their closet getting mad at you for being successful. So they're sure as heck aren't calling for sale by owners expireds. So my philosophy of for sale by owners over the years, if you've worked with me, is don't call them and makes them mad. Don't text them because now you're on their cell phone. Don't email them because who the heck is going to start a relationship on email? That's the dumbest thing I ever see people do. I get emails from, hey, we could do SEO for your company. Seriously, dude, who are you? And then I said, knock on the door. They can't resist you when you knock on the door. However, now's probably not the time you can do that. So what do you do in replace? I think some of the old techniques are becoming new again. I had a friend of mine drop, I was out of books and I said, Larry, I don't have anything to read. He goes, hey, I got a David Baldacci book. Really? Bring it over. And just being able to go out to the porch and or the patio out here and go, hey, I got a book. In fact, I'm ordering stuff from Amazon just so I can go out to the door. I just got my cigars from Corona Cigar and just to have something physical. So I think do a gift basket for sale by owners and expireds. Go to Target, get your little gift bags, and in it, maybe you put some hand sanitizer, some Clorox wipes, M&M peanut, microwave popcorn, and then put in some information about you, and then put in a letter. And the letter to a for sale by owner is, I hope you find the contents of this bag helpful in these challenging times. I see you're selling your own home, and I wanted to say to you that in a good market, selling one's own home is very challenging. So it must be really challenging right now. I just want you to know that Coldwell Banker has developed a virtual marketing plan in which we have preserved 80% of our business in this market. We're having offers over full price, and we're doing it all virtually. And if you would be interested in hearing about our virtual marketing plan, I can do a virtual presentation by Zoom. And clearly you've heard of Zoom by now. And just so you know, out of respect for your privacy, I will not be contacting you in person, nor will I call you, but you are free to call me. And then drop them off on every for sale by owner within 10 miles of where you are, or whatever your market area is. Same for expired listings. Same thing, gift bag, your letter's a little bit different. The letter would probably say something like, I see that you're listing at 2516 Randolph expired. Having a listing expire in a normal market is always a challenge, but in this one, especially even more so. However, we at Coldwell Banker have a virtual marketing plan where we have found listings that have expired. We are able to relist them and have them sold through our virtual marketing plan. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there are only 3 reasons why listings expire in this or any market. If you'd be interested in having me do a virtual consultation and help you decide which of the 3 it is, please give me a call. Out of respect to you, I won't be calling you or knocking on your door, but I would be happy to help you with that. And put that out. And then a few days later, followed up with a handwritten note. People are so virtual today that physical becomes your difference. Physical packages, physical letters, even, I don't know where you guys do your postcard mailings, but I'd start doing tons of those. Careful with your message. I got some broadcast email from one a little while ago. Beautiful, but it said, April showers bring May flowers. Oh, it's going to be a lovely time to buy and sell, right after they announced the death rate in the United States. And went, I know that campaign was set up 6 months ago. I don't fault her for it, but we need to take a look at our messages on our campaigns. So for sale managers, that's how I'd work them. And then once they call you, then we're back to business. And then just go through your virtual selling plan. And that's where I'm going to take you next. I'm sure by now you all have virtual sales plans. And that's one of the things. The slides in my PowerPoint goes out of date. Every day I have to delete a slide because I go, yep, we got that, done that, been there, done that. Okay, good. Then I can delete that slide. But having a virtual sales plan, you've got to create a flyer that shows all the steps. And by the way, we have been virtual for years. Our showings are the things that are challenging. Inspections, appraisals, those are the things that have been challenging. This is a guy, Mike Parker. We feature him in our online training. He emailed this the other day and said, feel free to share it, but this is the flyer I'm giving to my clients saying that we can do virtual consultations, valuations, signatures, marketing, et cetera. So let your customers and clients know that we're doing business as unusual, or whatever term you'd like to use, that we can still do everything, but we're just doing it virtually. Speaking of virtually, I'm not going to drag you through the entire, I've got a whole 15-minute video on how to set up a video conference space, framing, audio, lighting. And by the way, I'll just give you like a 1-minute commercial. We have a lot of Coldwell Banker companies that subscribe to our online training. And if you are interested in doing that, you can go to davidknox.com. You can do a free trial and check it out. But we have a whole new subjects menu called, oh, hey, we got a new video, yay. Oh, good. This just came up. In our today's market, the latest video that went up literally 5 minutes ago, because it wasn't up when I started this, called the virtual listing presentation. And this woman, Vicki Westifer from Colorado Springs, Colorado, I haven't even seen this video, you guys. I edited it, but I haven't seen it yet. But we take her through the entire listing process. She tells me how she got the listing. We actually have the entire video of the listing presentation, and you will see, I guess I can't find it in the video, but you'll see her entire listing presentation, her pre-listing package, which is virtual. And so if you're interested in subscribing, you can go to davidknox.com. You could do a free trial, and I think it lets you watch 5 of these.
Hey,
And,
David, it's Lance. Hey, I'm going to throw you a softball here real quick.
okay.
How important is video for our agents to be engaging in video and marketing themselves in that manner? So I know it's right up your alley, and you've been preaching it for years. So take that and run with it.
Well, absolutely. Video is critical. And if you go to our today's market curriculum, we have our video, our set up a Zoom video conference. This is where I am right now. And our Knox First Tuesday, number 112, Shoot Better video. This was recorded, I don't know, about a year ago. And we actually shot the opening in our studio on an iPhone to make the point that the iPhone is, we could do all of our videos on an iPhone. It's not about the device, it's about the lighting, framing, and audio. So this is a 12-minute video on how to shoot better video. And you've got to be good at it now because you're using it for FaceTime, Facebook Live, Zoom, Google Hangouts, virtual showings, virtual open houses. Everything that agents do today is on video. So if you don't understand framing and lighting and audio, you're going to look horrible. Speaking of that, here's how most people look on Zoom. Every time I start a Zoom call, it goes like this. And because people don't get it. And then they don't close the backlighting. And it looks crazy. By the way, for $149, you get the Pro Zoom account. Ooh, big deal. In fact, I'm talking to the Blue Ocean Group, so I don't need to worry about this. So this is the Blue Yeti microphone. It looks really expensive. It's $109 at Best Buy, B&H Video, whatever. So absolutely, you know, video is critical. And speaking of that, some of the best video is going to be Facebook Live. One of our instructors, Marky Lemons Ryle, if you haven't seen her, find her. But she speaks at NAR. She's all over the place. She may have even spoken at Coldwell Banker. But she talks about Facebook Live, how to do it. And she says, you know, if you don't like yourself on video, get over it because you look how you look. So again, if you are interested in learning more about that, you can certainly email me, david@davidknox.com, or give me a call. And I can give you a tour of the site, and you can also do a free trial. But speaking of video conference site, let me share screen. We'll get back to the presentation. Sorry, there we go. Anyway, can you see that, the lighting? Anyway, I just spent a couple minutes, so I'm in the video business, so I have access to stuff. But for all of you, set up a video conference site, have the lights up above you, not alongside of you. Have the light in front of you instead of behind you. Don't be backlit. Use a good USB microphone because you are now going to be judged. You're going to be judged by your video. And if you come in looking dorky with your nose buried below it and you got bright lights behind you and a bag of Fritos on the counter, they're going, oh yeah, really professional realtor. So this is the new first impression in real estate. So learn how to do it. And isn't that tough? And here's a checklist that you guys can use. In fact, if you want, for those of you on a Mac, go Command-Shift-3, and you can have this right now. If you're on a PC, I think it's print screen. And this is the checklist that I use when I do these video conferences. And I make sure, you know, what am I going to do? And today, Coldwell Banker, I chose a blue shirt. I mean, that's how anal I can sometimes be on these, and et cetera. You can go through the rest of it. And by the way, some of the people who have watched my Knox First Tuesday number 139, this is Inez Steele, a before and after. And this is Vicki Westifer, who we now feature in our, what we're calling the virtual listing presentation. On the left is a screen cap from her actual listing. It looks pretty good, but it's kind of on an angle. She's got too much headroom, got a bright light off the pictures, kind of a busy background, and she's really has harsh lighting on the left side of her face. Well, I said, look, Vicki, you and I are going to be doing a video conference, so I need you to watch KFT 139, which she did. Look at the one on the right. Night and day difference. She's the same woman, same hair, same glasses, same everything. But she went into a place with a nice, soft, blue-gray neutral background. She minimized the headroom to about 1 inch, which makes her look good. She has lighting that softens her and makes her look good. So these are just simple little things that you can do. So given that, let's talk about the virtual listing presentation. And I'm going to take you through the steps that she went through. Number one, any of you right now who have a potential seller, when this Zoom is done, get on the phone, call them up. And your question is, hey, are you guys still interested in moving? And if they are, then let's talk about how to do it. And then you can say, Mr. Seller, have you heard of Zoom? Oh my gosh, who hasn't heard of Zoom? Well, I'll tell you what is one of the greatest tools for helping us work together. And I'd like to tell you about it. And I'd like to set up a Zoom meeting with you. What would be a good time? And you set it up for 4 o'clock today, and you go into the Zoom, and you set up the account, and you send them the invitation. I don't recommend you require a password, because I'll tell you what, for people who haven't used Zoom, gives them a brain cramp. They don't know what to do with it. I'm not worried about people crashing a Zoom. Don't worry about that. That was a big deal a while ago. Next, you got a listing. Now you do everything that you've been doing before. You do your pre-listing research, whatever that is, previous listings. If it's sold before, listed before, do all your Google searches, your street views, whatever, and obviously drive by it if it's legal to drive in your state. And then you want to do a seller counseling interview. And that is the most important part of all listing presentations on the planet Earth. Too many agents focus on what they're going to say, when in fact, it's what you listen that is most important. Then you do listing, pricing, and electronic documents. So this is a screen cap of her actual listing presentation. The Greg Urban and his wife, on one screen, she's on the other, and she did a whole 34-minute interview with them. In fact, we have the whole interview unedited that we're posting as well. And then the next thing they did was a home tour. And, Vicky's in her same place on the sofa. And Mr. Seller takes the laptop and walks it around the house, and Mrs. Seller points it out, and they do a full tour. And by the way, she records the listing presentation and she records the tour. So now she doesn't have to write notes, because she knows she's already got the answers. And she went on to say that it is so much more relaxed because they're both on their home turf, and it was absolutely beautiful. So pre-listing packages to set yourself apart, or pre-listing activities. I have been saying for years to do a physical pre-listing package, but I have so many agents now that I want to be cool. I want to show how digital I am. Yeah, fine. When was the last time somebody framed a digital birthday card? Do a physical pre-listing package. I promise you'll be the only agent that does it, because I know in my, last 20, 30, 40 seminars I've done, I ask the audiences, how many of you do a pre-listing package? About 2 hands go up and go, I quit teaching that a decade ago, thinking, that was one of those slides I took out of my PowerPoint. Well, now I'm putting it back in, especially now. So she sends a physical pre-listing package on every single listing. It's a gift bag, whatever you choose to put in it. She takes it to the front steps. She texts them, say, by the way, the gift bag is at your front steps, and then they can take it out and they can go through it. So please do that. But also have a digital one, have a digital pre-listing, everything else. After that, everything she did was digital. Her pricing was digital. Her listing presentation was digital, links in an email. But she starts off and gives something physical. So I'm looking over here. Let me just, this is a good time to take a breath and just see if there is anything you guys want to interject.
Yeah, there is a question. Let me help you out with that, David. It looks like you're hunting around for it. Mary Conover got a question, which is so funny because I struggle with this all the time. What do you think about uploading a background in Zoom? Have a picture, a beach, a pier. I normally use one like Alex has on right now. That's a Zoom background, right, Alex? Yours? Okay, but I find myself, my head gets washed out. So I don't know, I struggle with that. So what are your thoughts?
Don't do it. Remember when the first computers came out and people got on the first word processing program and they found there was 38 different fonts, and they'd write you a letter in Helvetica, Capri, Caslon, Bodoni. Look at all the fonts I can use. And it's like, forget. You can tell somebody new in a video editing program. They do box slides, wipes, all this kind of stuff. They put stupid music in. No. Video, cut. Just a cut. Background, no. Virtual backgrounds. I was being politically correct about it. A couple, I'm going, I don't think you should do it. And I'm going to say, no, they're stupid. Alex, yours is fine. And the time to use a virtual background is if you got nothing else. But Peter, it looks, this is good. He's got the Coldwell Banker logo in it. You can tell you're a sports guy. You can see the bookshelves. I think that's a fine background. Lance, same with you. You got the Coldwell. So I think real background. So I don't like virtual. I think people want reality. They want authenticity. And I think a virtual background, there's something like, what's going on there? So that's just thanks for asking that. Any other questions? I love Q&A. Okay, any other question? Anything you guys? What I want to do next is one of the more important parts of this Zoom, trying to be interactive, and it's always a challenge to do it, but I want to role play, a live role play, and I can only do it with one of the three of you. Are you guys, who's up for it? Here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who sold their own home. Sold your own home recently, and recent could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, recently enough where you remember the moment where you were putting on the market and why you were doing it.
Yeah, I've got it.
Alex?
Yes.
Okay, Alex, the situation is we're doing a listing presentation. I've shown up. Whether it's physical or virtual, doesn't matter. The techniques are the same. And by the way, the techniques of listing are the absolute same now than they were before. It's just virtual, and you have to add some tech skills to it. So I've come into your home, I've accepted a cup of coffee, we have, a good rapport, and I say, Alex, thank you very much for inviting me to your home and considering me to market your property. And my philosophy, kind of like, I guess with the doctor, I believe I should diagnose before I prescribe. So Alex, what I'd like to do is just have you tell me about your situation. And by the way, I want you to go your absolute specific situation on the moment you were getting ready to list your home. So
Okay.
if you just need a minute to just think like,
I've got it.
Okay, good. So Alex, so let me begin. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with you.
David, I built this house. It's drop dead gorgeous. Put about $500,000 into it. I just everything I did was just top drawer. When the whole thing was done, the neighbor next door is just the neighbor from hell. And just every time we have family over, I had my 90-year-old grandparents park in front of his house. They're harassing them. His kid it turns out he's a felon. He shaved his head. He just abuses his dog. I hear cries from next door. I've called the police on him. And, at the end of the day, I just had a baby boy. Someone's going to jail. It's either him or me. I don't know how, or, it could even get worse from that. And I'm just beside myself because I've got so much money in this thing. I love this house. I love the neighborhood, but I cannot live next. And I get along with anybody, David. So I'm just beside myself. And as you can see, this place is drop dead gorgeous. I mean, just the backyard's $500,000.
Yep. Alex, I'm sorry to hear the challenges you're facing. Having gone through, how does it feel to be dealing with this?
It's stressful. Every day I turn the corner, I see his white truck parked in front of my house, but yet my grandparents try to park in front of his house. He's screaming at me. He's got the logo in the back of his NAR Gun Association, blah, blah, blah. It's just, I hear screams over there. I'm done. I am just so done, but I've got so much in this house, David. I'm dying here.
Yep. I hear you, Alex. Well, I'm sorry to hear the challenges you're facing. How long have you been in this house now?
I bought it about 4 years ago, and I just thought that every day is going to get better. I tried to work with him. I even hired him as a concrete contractor to do my concrete. I've really just tried and tried and tried, but I just can't do it anymore. Okay.
Well, those are some serious challenges. So I think my next question, I may already know the answer, but I'd like to hear yours, and that is, how soon would you like to have it sold?
I'd like to have it sold now.
Yeah, like right now. And if it didn't sell for some reason?
I've considered renting it out to 27 different families just to totally screw with this guy, but I know it's going to destroy my beautiful home.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what to do.
Well, Alex, first of all, thanks for sharing this. And by the way, in a real seller counseling interview, if we had more time, I'd ask more questions, but I don't want to go through that right now. So here's what I'm going to do as a summary. And Alex, first of all, thanks for sharing your situation. I can feel the pain that it has. From what I hear, you bought this home 4 years ago. And at the time, you were just excited about it, and you decided to put a lot of money into it, and you have put a lot of money, $500,000 into the place. You've made it beautiful. You've made your home. You fell in love with it, and you had this wonderful joy. And then all of a sudden, you got the neighbor from hell. You got somebody in there, no matter what you do, the guy's harassing, he's annoying, he's screamed, he's a felon, and absolute horror next door. And one of your fears is having to put up with that, and the fear that somebody's going to jail, either you or him. And I understand you could come to blows. And you know what I hear you saying is, you want out of here, you are done.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
Okay, I want to show you something. I'm going to share a screen. I'm going to show you what my goal was on this role play. It was to have you say any one of these words. Okay, that was my goal.
Okay.
And if you want to get more detail, read the book, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, who does hostage negotiation. And one of the ways, before he can ever proceed with his, quote, listing presentation for Chris Voss, it's getting him to release somebody's son who they're going to kill if they go $15 million. Then he says the first step of any presentation like this is you have to let the other person know that you understand their position. And in his business, vile though it may be. But too many agents run into a listing presentation when they need to do a listening presentation. And the way I did it is on the right hand, I write down facts, and on the left side, I write down facts, and on the right side, write down feelings. I want to get in touch with your feelings. And in fact, I couldn't read my own writing, but the other thing I should have said to you is, by the way, I hear it's really a stressful time for you. I couldn't read my own writing. So what I would ask you at the end of it, I think if you remember, I asked the question, so gosh, Alex, how does that make you feel? You said it's really stressful. So I'm trying to get in touch with facts and feelings. People don't move for factual reasons. They move for feelings. You got to get in touch with their feelings. So Alex, this was a real role play. You were doing your real deal. So how did you feel about my summary to you?
You know, I felt comfortable working with you, and I connected with you. So at that point, it was really just going to be price and commission. But I really felt like we had some sort of love connection.
Okay. Well, the point I'm trying to make to realtors today, this is when you win the listing, not when you open up your book and you go through 27 8x10 color glass and photos of circles there in the back of each one to show how much they don't care. And, you know, Steve Covey, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Peter, I see you raise a hand.
So along those lines, I think a lot of agents have a problem with conversation and articulating their value. And I guess, how does that change when agents have technological challenges of doing Zoom or even phobias of it?
Well, the answer to that is the way to get over the technologically, can't even say the word, the way to get over those fears would be to role play with somebody else. Open up a Zoom account and role play. Do not ever in the history of your life, do not make your first Zoom interaction to real people, the real buyers and sellers. You practice on husband, wives, children. In fact, the best person to practice on is really another agent, because the other agent understands the concept. They say, we don't like your background. You got too much headroom. You got a bright light behind you. I wouldn't ask me that question. And then role play it. And then reverse and role play and go back and forth. And after that, you just got to get over it. Just, you know, it's either get over it or get over the real estate business. Sadly, those are the choices we have. And Zoom's not that tough. It really isn't. If you've done FaceTime with a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, kids, I mean, you know how to do it. But the skills are critical, and that is to ask the questions. So, Alex, I haven't even given you my value proposition for Coldwell Banker. And on a 10 scale of how close are you to already wanting to list with me? And I don't mean that to be leading, but
David, you had me at hello.
You had me at hello. You had me at, and that's the first step of a listing presentation, is to do that. After that, it almost doesn't matter what you do, because if I really listen, okay, so let's go on to the value proposition. I have tons of things I can present from Coldwell Banker, tons of them, lots of them, more than I can even remember on a listing presentation. But every feature benefit statement ends with, and this will free you from that neighbor from hell. And I don't want to be, you know, pedantic about it, but, you know, when you maybe a price objection or a commission objection, say, you know, we're 1% apart on commission. We're talking, you know, we're talking $10,000 or whatever that number is. And I realize it's a big number, but Alex, if you had a choice between saving 10 grand or commission or spending another week with this guy, what would you do?
I'd burn the cash.
Yeah. For 10 grand, you get rid of the guy. So let's get your home on the market and let's get it sold. Same with pricing. You know, You know, you told us worth $1 million or whatever the number, you told us worth $1 million. Could we try it at $1.5 million? My answer would be sure. I mean, you're welcome to do that. But the byproduct is a market like this, when they're selling for $950 to $990, you're going to be on a while. And I guess the question I ask you is how's that going to work for you waiting to have this thing sold? And by the way, the higher price, the longer it's on the market and the longer he can start harassing people come into the front door of your house. So what do you think is a good thing to do here?
I think just put it at market.
Yeah. So again, once you know people's motivations, you can sell to it, you can present to it. Now be careful. It can come across as manipulative if you're too much into that, but still the need, NFB, need, feature, benefit. And by the way, I'm going to share screen again, and I'm going to go back to here. One of the things we put in our site, we've got some downloads, and we've got pre-listing questions with checklists. And these are questions that you should be, you know, asking on every listing presentation about your current home, reason, motivation, implication. And by the way, an implication question, I did that to use, I don't know if you noticed that, Alex, but I want to get you in touch with the pain even more than you're in touch with it. And the way I did that was to say, by the way, you know, what would happen if your home didn't sell? And, you know, that's a horrible thought. So I want to get you in touch with the horror of staying there. But I'm going to show you two questions I got from Vicki that I've added to this. They're simple, but they are powerful. In the motivation area, Vicki asked this question: what is your biggest fear about selling your home? Thought, what a beautiful question. It gets to and I wanted to practice that on you, Alex, and I forgot to do it, which reminds me, even though I wrote this question, I should have had it printed out in front of me. I think I got to your fear, however. I didn't really need to ask that specific question. But had we done a longer role play, what I probably would have done is gone to expectations of the agent, and I would have said, Alex, what is your biggest fear about selecting a real estate agent? In fact, let's just do that just for fun. We're getting kind of down to the time, but so Alex, you know, I appreciate you're considering hiring a real estate agent today. What's your biggest fear about selecting a real estate agent, Alex?
That I'm not going to sell the house fast enough for enough money, and that they don't have my best interest at heart. You know, it's like I feel like I can sell this house myself, but I can't. That's not what I do for a living.
Okay, so for all of you listening, was that a valuable answer? I assume that's a real answer, right, Alex? So we got three things. So you mentioned the three things, and what I would probably come back to later said, Alex, you mentioned two things that somehow are sometime are in conflict. Number one, you want to sell your home fast, then you want to sell it for the most money. And if you put that on a graph, they sometimes counter each other. So you can get more money, but it takes more time, or you can sell it quickly, but a little bit lower money. And that is a trade-off that all sellers make, given that where are you likely to lean? And your first answer may be, I want both. And I go, well, all sellers want both. But if you had to pick one, what would it be?
It would be to get out. No,
to just get out is worth 10 grand. So again, I hope everybody really picks up. It's a simple exercise, but it's powerful when you get to people's dominant motivation. And by the way, for those managers, owners, brokers on this call, develop a similar list of questions when you're recruiting. The same thing, the biggest mistake managers make in recruiting is, hey, let me tell you about Coldwell Banker. We're one of the finest companies in history. Isn't that amazing? Let me tell you about it. And we are a respected brand with real legit. And it's like, hey, dude, you don't even know if you want the guy. The guy couldn't sell mittens in a blizzard and you're off telling him how great you are. No. Sit down and ask, what are you looking for? What's your biggest fear about getting in the real estate business? That's a question I would create. What's your biggest fear about selecting a real estate broker? That's how I would take those two questions and apply it to those of you broker owner managers. And they might say, my biggest fear is we're not going to get trained. Well, let me tell you about that. My biggest fear is we're not going to get any prospects. Or my biggest fear is what kind of company car am I going to get? And then you can say, hey, dude, we have no need for your services. So thanks for checking in. I'm paying attention to the clock here, by the way. I'm going to take you back to this. So again, there's the two questions. By the way, if you want to do a screenshot of that, those are the two questions I asked. Let me back up 1 second. Sorry. I feel like Talladega Nights. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. So when you do your listening presentation, I like to draw a line down the middle, facts on one side, feelings on the other. And at the end, you summarize. And if you do it properly, they go, yes, that's right, correct, or something like that. And by the way, if they want to correct a few things that you said, that's okay. You didn't fail. You did it properly, because they say, well, but we want to change this, or this is different. So the emotional questions, what's your biggest fear about selling? selecting a realtor. By the way, if you do want to encourage sellers to, if you do want a little bit of dialogue on how to get sellers to consider selling now, talk about the fact that it's low inventory and it's actually getting lower because sellers are holding off. And because of that, you're going to be in a unique position with high demand. So now's the time to consider it. And then they'll say, yeah, but don't I have that same situation when I go to buy? Yes, you do. So the good news is you get more for your home when you sell, but you pay for it because when you buy, you're going to pay a little bit more, but the interest rates are lower, so you'll offset it with interest. What if we can't find a place to buy? Well, then you take them through the process of delaying the closing date, renting back, you know, maybe living in temporary housing for a while, but that gets into some other stuff. The listing presentation. Now, when we get into the actual presentation, if I've listened to your needs and your motivation and I understand my seller, Alex, then I can go through the 8 major steps of how real estate is sold on the planet Earth. In our video production, I videotape realtors on listing presentations, and I find them so haphazard, disorganized, non-sequential that I can't even edit the stupid things. Thankfully, Vicki was amazing at that. Not only was she good at Zoom, she was just an amazing agent. But if you were to create a listing presentation book that contains everything you already do now, you don't have to change anything. You just take all your stuff, take everything that you say in a listing presentation, maybe put it on 3x5 cards or however you want to organize it, and divide it into an 8-tabbed 3-ring binder. And the first section is marketing management. It's kind of like the general contractor to building the home, marketing manager. You are the person that manages the listing and the selling and the signs and the key boxes and the marketing and showing and all the stuff that goes on. You're the general sales contractor, I guess to use that term, and explain that that is a huge job that realtors provide. And if you're dealing with a for sale by owner, you can say, by the way, you're doing all this yourself. What's it like? Oh my gosh, it's painful. We're doing, yeah, well, exactly. It's a lot of work. And then the next 2 things, I think agents fail to present this. The sellers ask, well, what are you going to do to market my house? And they ask about internet and advertising. 80% of the listings in America, well, you come up with your own numbers in your own market, are not sold by the public. They're sold by other agents, the co-op agents. In fact, Alex, any of you, Peter, Alex, what percentage of Coldwell Banker listings are sold through MLS, through co-op brokers? Lance, what would you say yours is?
100%, or in high 90s for sure.
Okay, high 90s. Alex?
Yeah, 85, 90.
85. Sure. Peter?
Same.
Okay, here's what's going to happen. If you sit down with a seller and say, by the way, you know, we put your home in the market at Coldwell Banker, we're going to represent your interests. What percentage of Coldwell Banker listings do you think are sold from us to the general public? And they'll go, all of them? Nope. What percentage? I don't know, half of them? No. 85% of our listings are sold by our friendly co-op brokers. We welcome that. We welcome that. So when you ask realtors what we do to market to the public, you're asking the wrong question, because there's only about a 5% chance that our internet and all that stuff's going to sell. It's our other friendly competitive brokers that bring us the buyer. We welcome it. We encourage it. We're members of the multiple listing service. We pay high commission splits to invite them to do it. We do good sales helps. We do good photos. And if they want to present an offer on my listing, I let them come and present directly to you. Ask your competitors if they do. No, we never let the buyer agent present the offer because they're so protective. You know, those are the kind of agents to deal with. We welcome the other agents. I love them. I have a broker open house. I've got friends at all these other companies. They're great, competent agents. I call them as, hey, Betty, we got a brand new listing. I want you to be the first to know. So that's how your home is going to sell. That's how we promote it. I promise you, you will be different from every single other agent on listing, because they're talking about our websites and HDR photography and all of that. Peter, go ahead.
What do you say to a seller right now who wants to sell, but they're scared and nervous to let people in their homes?
I would acknowledge that, and I would say, Mr. and Ms. Seller, I absolutely respect that. It's a very legitimate fear today. And if you're in a, you know, if you consider yourself in a high-risk group or not, the thought of having someone bring into your home something that will affect your health, Mr. and Ms. Seller, we absolutely respect that. And if you are uncomfortable having someone in your home, you have 2 choices. One is to just not put your home in the market now and wait until a time that feels comfortable, or, and let me go back to tell me again why you're moving and how important it is to move. Do you want to sell? Do you want to stay? and they say, we got to get out of here. We hate this place. We want to go to Florida. My daughter had a baby, and I always promised if she made me a grandmother, we want to move to Florida and be with her. Great. So it sounds like you really want to go. Then it sounds like you want to move, but you don't want anybody in your home. Let me tell you about the Coldwell Banker virtual marketing plan, where we can put your home on the market, sell it, close it, show it, do everything, and nobody ever enters your home. In fact, you don't even have to enter.
Thank you. Another question that I see in the chat is, we talk about agents getting accustomed to Zoom and doing things virtually. What do you do when you're dealing with people who aren't that advanced on the other side?
I'm sorry to answer this in a way that's going to appear to be a commercial, but I don't.
No, do it. The question that was asked in the chat by Rosal.
Our quick tip 59, all of our videos have support materials, and this one has a Zoom tutorial for clients. So if you just take a screenshot of this, make your own if you want. We have one in Word that's editable, but this is one I put together for our members. So they can download it. I have one in Word where they can put in their own logo, and you can see the top sentence. Your real estate professional will host a virtual Zoom meeting, et cetera. You know, it's simple to do, et cetera. Here's how to do it. Then it shows them the invitation, you know, the little pop-up, command, comma, preferences, join the meeting, equipment, audio, video. So that's the answer. You now have to train your buyers and sellers how to use Zoom. Excellent. And for all of you listening, my answer on how to do that, if you're on this Zoom call, it's axiomatic. You figured out how to do it, and you remember the learning curve. Where's the share screen? Where's the chat? Where's it? You know, and if you want, you can do a screenshot of this Zoom if you want, and or any Zoom, and put that in a little flyer to your sellers. Say, by the way, here's how Zoom looks, and here's how to use it. It's really easy learning curves. And I remember it was 2018 when I did a seminar for Spicer Heart in the UK, and I'd been using Skype, which I hate. I'd never use Skype again ever. And they wanted to use Zoom, never heard of it. And I remember I got on Zoom with them, and I was like a kid in kindergarten tripping over my own lunchbox for about 20 minutes. And then, you know, finally I figured it out. And there's, and by the way, in that flyer, there's Zoom tutorial links. But good question. Thanks, Peter. Anyone want to keep going with questions?
David, can you give so I want to sell my house. I've got, you know, 3 grandkids that are over in Florida that I want to get to, and just some of the objections where you just keep hammering it home about the grandkids, because I really want a ton of money for my house and I don't want to pay a lot of commission.
You just asked me a question when I do a 3-hour seminar on commission objectives called Value-Added Selling, How to Avoid the Commissionectomy, and it's a great seminar. In fact, when you and I talked about this, let me back up. The answer to your question is you got to create value before you discuss commission. I talk about 5 ways to deal with commission: value, difference, dialogue, net, and strength. Step number 1 is value. You got to be so good they don't ask you to cut. I use the example of a server where they're so good. I think you and I went out to dinner. I have some memory of you and I going out to dinner one night, and the service was so good, I think we bid the tip up. Is that right? Am I remembering that right? So let's give her 20%, 20, 25. I think we over tipped her because she was so good. So be so good, your sellers will over tip you. So anyway, you present your techniques for exposing to agents. Then yes, you do expose to the public and you tell them about the syndication, the websites, et cetera. But then you talk about securing prospects that you will answer the phone, because nobody will answer the phone in America. So answer the phone. Then you go into demonstrating the home, which gets into photos, showings, key boxes, closing, securing an agreement, closing the transaction. That's where you talk about mortgage, title, ancillary services, and then only then do they get their net equity check. So in a listing presentation, you talk about the value that you present. So now we're going to get into a commission objection, and I'm going to give you one of the key parts of my commission seminar, and this is one of the most powerful parts. If you get a commission objection, you're X and they're X minus 1 or 2 or whatever those numbers are, you don't have to sell the whole thing. You don't have to sell your own commission. You only have to identify difference. This is your commission. This is your competitors. They've already agreed to pay the bar on the right. You don't have to sell them on that much. They already agreed to it. So you only have to sell the difference. So maybe it's 1%, it's a $500,000 home. So we're talking $5,000. I'll quantify $5,000. Are you worth $5,000 more? Well, this is where part of your listing presentation has to be. On the left is that little tiny 1% difference, and on the right are all the benefits I bring. Sale to list ratio that I get 98.4, they get 97.2. Days on market, expiration rates, per person productivity. And by the way, Alex, from what you're telling me about the Blue Ocean Group, one of the greatest things that you all can sell that nobody else can is per person productivity. You can kill your competitors on that. And you can say to the owner, hey, if you went to get LASIK surgery, what would have been one of the early questions you'd ask the surgeon? And they go, well, I probably want to know how many he or she has done. Okay, why do you ask that? Well, because if they've done a lot, maybe I won't go blind. Yes, so when you're listing with a realtor, the corollary to that is you ask, what is your per person productivity? And for most realtors, it's 0.5. They sell half a listing a year. So at 2 years, they finally get a whole house sold. Now ask me what mine is, and it's 12, 15, 20, whatever those numbers are. You can blow them away with that. So sale to list ratio. Yes, I charge 1% more, but I get 0.875 more in a home. I sell it in 37 days instead of 68. I sell 95% of my homes instead of the other companies sell only 62 with their expiration, my per person productivity, et cetera. And you just beat them over the head. And I'll give you one of, well,
Dave, you're killing it, but we want to respect your time. We want to start on time, but we
don't
also
worry about mine. Worry about theirs. Don't worry about mine. But
got a million Zoom calls. I think half the people on this call have a 10 o'clock Zoom that we got to get on. So just real quick wrap up, especially for the Blue Ocean guys. We have another call today at 1 o'clock. I believe it's 1 o'clock. Correct me if I'm wrong. With Katie Lance. She's a social media guru. You guys may know her through Inman and a few other places. So anyway, thank you so much. We got to wrap this up. But David, by the way, I've been a customer of David's for years. I know Alex has been a customer of subscribing to his stuff. So tell everybody really quickly where they can find your stuff, and then we're going to wrap it up.
By the way, the 5 are value, difference, dialogue, net, and strength. To that question, if they just go to davidknox.com, I think the first page is about our training. You can sign up for a free trial. And in the chat here, I put in my email, david@davidknox.com, or my phone, 612-590-8955. And if you'd like, I'll do a live Zoom demonstration of our online training and show you how it works. And I'll take you to some other Coldwell Banker sites and show how that works. But it'd be a pleasure to help you out.
Great stuff. Appreciate it. Peter, thanks.
Awesome, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was fun. I love working with you guys.
Peter, thanks for hosting.
Absolutely. I'm happy to do it again if you'd like.
Right,
Yeah, guys, thank you. And everybody at Coldwell Banker from literally across the world, all of you leaders and managers and owners and everyone who's gotten behind us to deliver all this great content. And David, thank you as well for being a part of that. Everybody, see you guys back here at 1.
And by the way, if you wouldn't mind giving me the chat from this, because I can't read it fast enough, but I'd love that they're saying some nice things and makes my day to read some of it. So if you don't mind, fire off the chat file.
We'll send you the whole thing.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you guys. Good to see you. Have a great day.